Why does time feel faster as you age? When you were a kid, summer lasted forever. A single afternoon felt like its own little universe. Now, summer is a Tuesday that you blink and miss. You didn't get slower. The world didn't speed up. So what happened to time? Ask literally anyone over 25, and they'll tell you the same thing. The years are moving faster than they used to. It's not just a feeling old people complain about at dinner. It's one of the most consistently reported experiences of being human. Psychologists have a name for it: time compression, or sometimes the forward telescoping effect. And here's the strange part: it's not just that time feels fast. Ask someone to actually measure a short interval, like guess when 60 seconds has passed, and older adults are pretty much just as accurate as younger people. It's not that your internal clock breaks. So if your clock isn't broken, what is it measuring wrong? The oldest explanation for this goes back over a century, to a French philosopher named Paul Janet. His idea was beautifully simple. We don't experience time in absolute units. We experience it proportionally, relative to how much life we've already lived. When you're 5 years old, 1 year is 20% of your entire existence. It's enormous. It's basically a fifth of everything you've ever known. When you're 50, that same single year is only 2% of your life. Same 365 days. Completely different weight. Mathematically, this means each year should feel a little shorter than the one before it, in a smooth, predictable curve, and weirdly, that curve matches pretty well with what people actually report. It's an elegant idea, but it's not the whole story. Because if this were the entire explanation, every day within a given year should feel roughly the same length to you, and that's just not true. Think about the longest day of your life. Not the busiest, the one that, looking back, felt like it stretched on forever. For a lot of people, it's a childhood memory. The first day at a new school, a trip somewhere unfamiliar, a day packed with things you'd never done before. Now think about last Tuesday. Can you even remember it? Here's the theory. Your brain doesn't actually experience time directly. What it experiences is memory. And when you look back on a period of your life, your brain isn't measuring how many seconds passed, it's counting how many distinct, memorable moments got stored. Childhood is a novelty machine. Everything is new. New smells, new rules, new faces, new fears. Your brain is laying down memories constantly, which means when you look back, there's a huge amount of stuff filling that timeline. It feels long because there's so much in it. Adulthood, on the other hand, runs on routine. Same commute, same desk, same order at the same coffee shop. Your brain, quite reasonably, stops bothering to encode most of it. Why waste storage on a Tuesday that's identical to 50 other Tuesdays? So when you look back on a decade of routine, there's almost nothing there to measure. The container was full of time. The memory of it is nearly empty. This is sometimes called the reminiscence bump. Psychologists find that when people recall their lives, a disproportionate number of vivid memories cluster around adolescence and early adulthood, exactly when everything was still new. It's tempting to think of this as a flaw, like your brain is just bad at its job. But actually, this is your brain being extremely efficient, arguably too efficient for your own enjoyment of life. Encoding a new, detailed memory is expensive. It takes energy and attention. So your brain has a filter. Is this new? Is this important? Is this different from what I already know? If yes, encode it in detail. If no, barely bother. This is a survival feature, not a bug. If you had to consciously relearn how to walk to your own kitchen every single day, you'd never get anything else done. Your brain automates the familiar so you can spend your limited attention on the unfamiliar, the actual threats and opportunities. The side effect is that a life full of comfortable routine is, neurologically, a life the brain considers unremarkable, and unremarkable things don't get remembered. Which means they don't get to occupy much space when you look back and ask, where did the time go? There's a more modern wrinkle to this, too. Some researchers point to how much of adult life is now spent in states of low attention scrolling, half watching something, doing a task on autopilot while your mind is elsewhere. Attention is basically the ink your brain uses to write memories. If you're not really there for something, if you're present in body but absent in attention, your brain writes almost nothing down. Which means an evening spent fully absorbed in a conversation with an old friend might get remembered as vividly as an entire month spent in a haze of half-attentive scrolling. So it's not just about age. Some 25-year-olds report time flying just as fast as some 70-year-olds, because the actual variable isn't your birthday, it's how much genuinely new, genuinely attended to, experience you're feeding your brain. Here's the genuinely useful part. If time compression comes from novelty and attention, not from some fixed cosmic dial turning faster, then it's at least partly something you can push back against. People who deliberately break routine new routes to work, new hobbies, new places, even just paying close, deliberate attention to an ordinary moment tend to report that stretches of their life feel longer in hindsight, not because the calendar moved slower, because they gave their brain more to store. It's a strange trade. Novelty often feels uncomfortable in the moment. New things are harder, more effortful, sometimes a little scary. But comfort is exactly what makes time disappear. The two are in direct tension. The years that feel easiest while you're living them are often the years that vanish fastest once they're gone. So the years aren't actually speeding up. There's no cosmic sped-up dial. What's speeding up is the sameness, and what's disappearing is your brain's reason to bother remembering it, which means the answer to, where did the time go, was never really about time at all. It was about attention. About how much of your life you were actually awake for, in the fullest sense, versus how much of it you let pass by on autopilot. Technically alive, but not really there. So maybe the real question isn't, why does time go faster? It's, what are you going to do today that's actually worth remembering? Subscribe if your brain just filed this video as novel.